Good morning, my U.S. History 1 class. So today we're going to be finishing up this section on a turbulent decade, and we're going to deal with a nation divided. So your objectives for today's lesson are, there's 5 of them. 1, explain why Americans supported the Ku Klux Klan and what factors led to a decline in that support. 2, identify the actions that African Americans took up to combat discrimination and violence. 3, discuss why many Americans demanded restrictions on immigration. 4, state why Mexican immigration increased during the 1920s. And 5, recount the actions that American Indians took to protect their land. To the people that participated in the virtual call yesterday, thank you. I'm going to be doing a review of what we discussed during that call. So African Americans moved north. This was called the Great Migration. Unfortunately, there were people who were still very racist, who weren't happy with African Americans moving up north. Okay, so a lot of hostility towards African Americans. And in 1919, there was a big situation in Chicago where a black man was swimming in a lake. A white man starts throwing rocks at him. The black man drowns, and a big riot ensues. And it ensues because when the police come to investigate, they do not arrest anybody. All right. But during that specific situation, basically 38 people were killed and 537 people were injured. And that riot lasted for a week. So in 1919, about 25 race riots did take place. Another big one was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that was referred to as a Black Wall Street. There was a part of town that was heavily African American, businesses, banks, schools, all Black-owned businesses. And some white people who were very racist came and burnt it down. And so that, if you want to look that up, you can just look up Black Wall Street and what happened. We get a return of the KKK, a hate group who did not like African Americans, Catholics, Jews, immigrants, and people who they thought were radicals, who did not believe in their political views. Okay, their actions increased, but they increased and then they took a downward turn towards the end of the 30s because of corruption at the highest levels and the KKK. African Americans started defending their rights. The NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, an organization formed to help African Americans gain equality. We also get Black nationalism. A man named Marcus Garvey, he was sort of the leader of this pan-nationalism, of Black nationalism, pan-Africanism movement of Black people moving back to Africa. A lot of people in America were not happy with a lot of the immigrants coming in. And so, but why weren't they happy? They thought immigrants had different ideas than them. And so the Congress enacted something called the Immigration Act of 1924. And this act limited immigrants from various European and Asian countries. Okay. Now, for Mexican Americans, I want to spend a moment on this. That Immigration Act excluded Mexican Americans. Why? Excluded Mexican Americans because business owners in the Southwest needed Mexican Americans to come in and work on the agricultural end. So Mexican Americans were allowed in and welcomed, and they ended up moving to major metropolitan areas in the country. So like Los Angeles, Chicago, San Antonio, El Paso, etc. Finally, American Indians. American Indians were still being taken advantage of, but they were able to get more support. And they got support when the government tried to enact a bill called the Bursum Bill. And so the Bursum Bill basically was designed to legalize non-Indian claims to Pueblo land. The good news about this is that the Pueblo people won support from a lot of different groups, and they were able to fight it. So the Burson Bill was never passed. So that was a victory for American Indians. Guys, I know this one is pretty long. If you need to reach me, send me a chat or text. Otherwise, have a good day and talk to you later. Bye-bye.